Welcome into the CLNS Red Sox B Team Roundtable. I am your host tonight, Nick Qualia. As usual at this point, alongside Alex Barth and Ethan Winter. What's up, guys? How we doing?
How's it going?
So tonight, we are going to talk about probably the hottest topic with the Red Sox right now. It is whether or not... First, I'll say this. Giancarlo Stanton with the Marlins right now. He made it through waivers. Obviously has a big contract. One of the best power hitters in baseball right now. There's a lot of speculation on whether or not the Marlins are going to trade Giancarlo Stanton away. Pronounce his name however you want. I hear Giancarlo Stanton. I hear it millions of ways.
Mike's John, never forget.
Formerly known as Mike Stanton. Now, obviously, Red Sox team, we want to talk about the Red Sox are one of the biggest contenders in baseball for not only the playoffs, but also the World Series. Giancarlo Stanton is... I know that they've done a lot to fix this team so far this year, but Stanton would add exactly what this team is missing, which is power. A, do you guys think that the Red Sox should go after Stanton? And B, if they do, what are you willing to give up for Stanton? Alex, what do you think?
I mean, look, it's a no-brainer that you should go after Stanton. Anytime there's a player out there like this, you know, you're going to try to make the move. It's irresponsible not to look, but what would you have to give up? Do you have to give up Benintendi and Devers? That's probably a breaking point. Do you have to give up one of them? Maybe you talk. And this is where it's very easy to get frustrated with Dave Dombrowski. Because not that it hasn't been this whole time, but you look at some of the prospects and the guys he's given up. For guys they did need, but maybe he paid too much, and the argument from Dombrowski's supporters was he gave up a little more than he should have, but these were guys they needed. But now you don't have that surplus of prospects. It's like with the Celtics. Do you trade the Brooklyn picks to get a guy who maybe isn't worth it but will make your team better? Or do you save them in case an Anthony Davis or also today a LeBron James becomes available? And the Celtics have done it the right way. Dave Dombrowski was the complete opposite. They don't have the piece. Should they go get him? Yes. But they don't have the pieces to responsibly do it unless the Marlins get stupid.
I would agree with that. I think the Red Sox they have to at least inquire to the Marlins about Giancarlo Stanton. What will it take? What's the Marlins asking point? How willing are the Marlins to budge on their asking point? How much are the Marlins willing to come down on their asking point? There's definitely enough reason to talk to the Marlins about it and see what they're looking for. But again, like you said, like what is it going to take? I would gladly, and this is probably a problem, but I would say they give up Jackie Bradley Jr., and I'm a huge JBJ guy, but I would give him up in a heartbeat, along with one of our prospects, maybe a Jason Groom or Chavis. I mean, that's probably what it's going to take.
So you're doing it.
I wouldn't give up Benintendi or Devers. That's my cutoff point.
So you think you can get Giancarlo Stanton with Jackie Bradley Jr. being the centerpiece of the deal?
Well, so
absolutely not. Jackie Bradley is not the centerpiece to any big deal right now.
I would do that, but there's no way in hell that happens.
I know, and that's what I was going to say. Like
that makes Billy
problem. Like
smart.
I would do it, but the problem is that will the Marlins do it? Probably not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Jackie Bradley is way too streaky of a player right now. There's four clear players. It's gonna have to be a major league. It's gonna have to be a major league player. A, there's no good prospects left for Dombrowski to deal, and B, he shouldn't deal any prospects anymore because there's like I just said, there's nobody left in the farm system. You have to either give up young talent that you can build around. Obviously, the names being tossed around are going to be Jackie Bradley Jr., too streaky of a hitter. Xander Bogaerts, supposed to be a power bat, plays well in the field. He's in his second half slump right now. So he's showing a pattern that's not going to intrigue the Marlins. It's either going to have to be, if this were to happen, Benintendi, Betts, or Devers. And I'll be honest with you. I give up Betts. Because I love Betts. I love Mookie Betts. Second, he's got value. He was runner-up last season for the MVP, obviously. I give up Betts because in a couple of seasons, you're going to have to figure out who you're going to pay between Xander Bogaerts, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Mookie Betts. All of their contracts, all of their small money contracts run up around the same time. So you're going to have to pay all of those guys. Because if you don't, they're going to go somewhere else. It's time to make a move, and if you're going to do it, you got to do it kind of soon. And if you can get value for Mookie Betts, what are you going to replace him with? What are you replacing Mookie Betts with? Giancarlo Stanton. One of the 44 home runs in the season right now. That adds power to your lineup. He's a pretty good fielder. That's as much as it would sting me to see Mookie Betts in another uniform. I'm not going to cry about it when I see Giancarlo Stanton manning right field.
There's another reason the Red Sox there's a couple reasons the Red Sox need to do this quick, and you hit on that. First of all, Bryce Harper is going to get $40 million a year at some point soon.
Absolutely.
That's going to throw all these contracts out of whack. People talk about taking on Stanton's $28 million a year. That's going to be a freaking bargain in a year or two.
I hate sports.
You're probably going to pay that's probably the basement for Mookie Betts or Andrew Benintendi when their contract is up is $29 million. So if you trade Betts, and Betts is kind of my guy too. If you were to do this, if you trade Betts for Stanton, essentially what you're doing is moving 3 years into the future. Betts is 24, Stanton's 27. You're essentially getting Betts after that contract extension from a pure financial and team building spot. Different kind of player, but financially, and you have a young, well-polished outfielder. That's what you're getting.
Another thing is,
another reason the Red Sox need to do this soon is, let's remember, it's Derek Jeter's about to buy the Marlins. Now, Derek Jeter is going to be very careful as an owner. If his first move is getting fleeced by the Boston Red Sox, if Derek Jeter gets fleeced by the Boston Red Sox, he can kiss his front office career. Like, he can never come back from that. So as soon as Jeter steps in the door, the price goes up tenfold, I think. So it needs to be done before the waiver deadline. It's not something you can wait till the offseason to do. The other thing to remember, one more thing. I know I keep jumping, Ethan.
It's okay.
You mentioned the young player. They need to be young and cross-controlled. This is the Marlins. They have very little money to spend. They want somebody they can have for cheap for an extended period of time. Now, young, cross-controlled, if you are dealing with Jeter, I think Xander Bogaerts is the sleeper here. If you're going to sneak something under Derek Jeter's nose and try to win this trade, you try to make Xander Bogaerts the centerpiece. Maybe Jeter overlooks Bogaerts, or thinks highly of Bogaerts because they're both shortstops. Bogaerts is young. He has the impressive numbers. It's just he hits 317. On paper, he's very good. It's a very empty 317, but he hits 317. Realistically, yeah, Betts is probably the guy. But if Dave Dombrowski can be shrewd, maybe, just maybe, he can pull a switcheroo. And if you can make Bogaerts the centerpiece, if it's Bogaerts and then one of those remaining prospects for Giancarlo Stanton, I'm through the moon. And then you just get rid of Hanley and Stan's your DH.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was thinking about that too. What would you do if you were to make that deal? It's easy. If that deal goes down this year, you move. This is a championship contending team even more if you bring in Stanton. Sorry, Bogaerts. See you later. You have a hole in your bat, and you're a pretty good fielder. But we've seen some impressive stuff that's been consistent all year from Eduardo Nunez. You put Nunez at shortstop, you make Stanton your DH. That's a hell of a lineup, and that's a lineup that competes for a World Series. And dumping Hanley frees up that cash. Trade him somewhere.
No, it doesn't, because you still have to pay him. It doesn't really free up the cash.
Well, I'm not saying cut him. I'm saying try to trade him.
Nobody.
Although I don't think the Marlins are going to take Hanley back.
I don't think the Marlins are going to be trading
Bogaerts for. You have a better chance straight up trading Bogaerts for Stanton than you do getting a team to take Hanley Ramirez.
There's a lot of stupidity in this league. Look at the Boston Red Sox. Years ago, somebody wouldn't have said
they already have them.
So years ago, there's somebody in the United States doing something just like us, doing a podcast, and somebody goes, no way in hell somebody gives that fat-ass Pablo Sandoval $95 million a year and gets fleeced by him. Oh, the Red Sox are a stupid team. There are other stupid teams to do it. There are other stupid teams to do it, I am telling you.
look, just to play devil's advocate here for a second. And
I take a bag of peanuts for him. Sorry.
I don't worry about. Oh, I would trade Pablo Sandoval for a fish, because if you give a man a fish, he can eat for a day. But if you give a man Pablo Sandoval, his baseball team will suck. Devil's advocate here. And nothing worries me about getting Giancarlo Stanton. But let's say you do trade Bogarts for him, and you're bringing. He'd be the highest paid batter on the team. I think he'd be the second highest paid behind Price. He's coming from a small market. Are you worried about bringing him into this clubhouse the way as fragile as it's been this year? And it's unfortunate because of David Price. You have to ask. He's been playing in Miami. He plays in front of 100 people every night. How would he react to Boston? Personally, I think he could do it because he seems like a guy who likes to showboat. He likes to be the center of attention. He likes the media. At least in Miami, he does. The Boston media is a different animal, but it sucks because of David Price. You have to ask yourself, with every addition from Addison Reed to Giancarlo Stanton, are they going to be able to handle the Boston media? And just Boston in general, the fans, all of it.
Well, since you bring that up, Alex, the comparison that comes to my mind is Adrian Gonzalez, who, when he came to Boston, he produced. He produced on the field, but he was mentally soft. There's that.
Yeah, but Gonzalez was never a showboat.
Like,
Showboat in San
so many
Diego.
Night games on the weekends, and that's what happens when you come from San Diego to Boston, where we're in the national spotlight.
Yeah, but Gonzalez is a different personality than Stanton.
It's anytime they bring in a player now, it's a concern, and that sucks.
We need a guy with an attitude, and Stanton might have that attitude.
Stanton can handle it. Back to Mookie Betts real quick. I think another thing that makes Mookie tradable for the Red Sox is that, or would make the Red Sox want to trade him, is that Mookie turned the Red Sox down in terms of talks for a contract extension.
Everybody does that on that contract, though. I don't think they hold that against him.
He would be dumb to do it.
Either, but
early extension contract.
I think
most guys don't
keep in mind too.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts.
It's also important to remember that every team puts basically every player through waivers at this time of year. And I know there were reports that, the Marlins were close to trading Stanton, but we don't even know. Think about it. It's not like the Marlins are shopping Stanton. They're taking offers. It's one thing if they want to go, if they're like, we want to move on from Giancarlo Stanton, rebuild, we're going to use him to acquire the pieces. No. Teams are inquiring about him.
Well,
it's not this Kyrie Irving situation where teams know that the Cavs want to get rid of him. That makes I think we are underestimating the price. I think the price truly starts with Andrew Benintendi and Rafael Devers. And the thing with me with Devers is he's untouchable. In this case, because the only person I'm trading Devers for is a lights-out starting pitcher. Not that the Red Sox need one.
It's Clayton Kershaw.
There's no bat I would trade him for because he's 20 years old and he's already hitting like Giancarlo Stanton. Relative, not like Giancarlo Stanton.
Right, yeah.
6 home runs 6 days in a row. But he's taking a 103-mile-an-hour fastball up and in and going the other way. So if you trade him for Stanton, like straight up, maybe I would. Straight up, I probably would, because you're getting what he could be again. You're just fast-forwarding. But if I have to throw in another top prospect, so essentially I'm just giving away a top prospect to fast-forward Rafael Devers 3 years, 5 years. That's not worth it to me. Because this team is built, as much as we bitch about Dave Dombrowski, how he screwed up the future, he screwed up the long-term future. The next 2 or 3 years, this team is going to be legit.
This team's going to be great.
I'm not sacrificing that for just this year. Who do they lose next year? What's going to be the issue next year? Mitch Moreland's the only guy off the top of my head whose contract is up. And you have Chavis. You still have Sam Travis. Remember, he was hitting well when he was up. Bobby Dalbec is a guy I'm very excited about.
Oh, Travis will be up next year.
I did see him on the Cape. I do kind of have an affinity for him. But this team's going to compete for the next 2 or 3 years. Don't sell that down the road. Don't sell your short-term future when you've already sold your long-term future, Lyle Landry.
Right. And another thing to keep in mind is that if Dave Dombrowski actually pursued Edwin Encarnacion, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
No, but we still would, because Dombrowski's an unpredictable moron.
Yeah, exactly.
We 100% would still be having this conversation. Look, they could have the top 5 home run hitters in baseball, and Dave Dombrowski would still want to go out and get Giancarlo Stanton. He's all about collecting talent. He doesn't care about building a team.
And I think if the Red Sox had Edwin Encarnacion, our power problems would be solved. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. But as Alex said, who knows with Dave Dombrowski? He just does whatever he wants.
Yeah, but the money situation was stupid with Encarnacion.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
How much money did he end up getting?
By the time he signed, it had come way down from what he was asking.
How much did he sign for?
I think $60 million.
Over how many years?
3.
And he's what, 30?
But you also have to remember, at the time, you still had Pablo Sandoval's contract. I mean, you still do. So you're trying to pay for Sandoval,
because
Ramirez.
Dave Dombrowski doesn't care. He doesn't care about putting a team on the field. He just wants the best players. He doesn't care how they fit, if he has a well-rounded team, whatever. You could give him 9 guys who will hit 350, steal 30, 40 bases a year, and not hit any home runs. You could give him 9 Juan Pierres, and he would think he had a damn good team.
All right. Ethan, final thoughts.
Nothing wrong with Juan Pierre, by the way. Sorry.
You're not Ethan.
I thought I already gave my final thoughts.
Give another final thought.
Aside from Edwin Encarnacion, see what the asking price is for Giancarlo Stanton. I don't think the Red Sox are going to make the move, but it's definitely worth listening to what the Marlins are asking for.
Alex,
I'm just going to leave everybody with a question, something to ponder, because this is what I was thinking today while I was sitting at work. 2 huge names were made available today in different sports. Who would you rather see your team acquire? Assume the price is relatively the same. Giancarlo Stanton or LeBron James? I honestly think I would rather the Red Sox get Stanton than the Celtics get James.
That's
just food for thought.
That's wild. I would go opposite, but that's a topic for...
It's close. It's close. I had to really think about it.
It's very close. And I guess they're kind of... Stanton's not the best at baseball, but they're close to talent-wise for their own respective sport. My final thought, if the Red Sox have to give up Benintendi or Devers, you don't make the move. I would give up Mookie Betts. I would obviously give up Jackie Bradley Jr. or Xander Bogaerts. But I'm not touching Benintendi or Rafael Devers. Thanks for listening, everybody, to the CLNS Red Sox Beat Team Roundtable. I am your host, Nick Qualia. Once again, alongside Alex Barth and Ethan Winter. Have a good night, everyone.